have small humans, don't think it didn't affect them. It really did. If you yourself all of a sudden are finding that you're unable to do some things that you love doing when it's time to go back and do them, like going outside and shopping or going outside and golfing or something that you used to doing that you were unable to do for so long, it's all right. You are allowed to feel that way. You're allowed to feel traumatized by this pandemic that we're going through. Take a deep breath and find your own way of processing. And if you need help processing, feel free to reach out to me. I have a couple of tools under my belt that may or may not help you. This is definitely one of those situations where what works for one does not work for all. So if you are feeling that way or your small humans are feeling that way, reach out. I have a couple of resources in my pocket that can help you out. So that was a vulnerable moment for me. That was our first vulnerable moment that was shared on here. I know, pretty cool. Anywho, I'm going to say this again because I'm really excited. I don't know if you guys realize, but I'm really excited. Really excited for pageant next week. I'm competing in different categories and I choreographed my solo number. It's really funny because if someone else choreographs a dance for me, I will know it frontwards, backwards, and of course I will do it full out all the time. When I choreograph a solo for myself, it never goes the way I want it to. I can never be in the studio after completing the choreography and do what I actually choreographed. So say for instance, I choreograph my dance on Monday. I know what I want to do. I go in the studio on Tuesday and all of a sudden I'm like, ugh, I don't even remember it. Like, what happened in my brain overnight? Like, somebody please tell me. It happens all the time. I'm gonna try now in future doing this to record myself and see if it really sticks into my body, because I don't know why that happens. It's like when I choreograph for class, well, I just know this. The first time I do it is not essentially the way I want it to be, and then the second time is actually what it should be. It's like I have to do the first draft and take that out of my brain and then do the second part. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. It's actually really funny. And I don't know my lefts and rights. And I can't count. I can't count. Okay, so here's why I can't count. And I'm not making up an excuse. I'm a whole grown woman. I learned how to count in like kindergarten, preschool, whatever age you learn how to count. And I honestly think this is the reason I can't count. And if you're listening to this and you happen to dance with me at the same studio that is no longer, you'll agree. And I'm pretty sure, maybe no, I don't know. Yeah, actually, no. If you dance with me at the same studio, you'll agree because you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. And it's just been my thing. This literally has always been my thing. So I listen to the rhythm of music. That's what moves me. I had a dance instructor eons ago, and she was very similar to that. She did not count. She listened to the music and showed you and pointed out where the accent was or where the movement needed to sit and ride with the music. Also, I'm a visual learner, so that clicked to me. Watching her move and then hearing the music together, it made complete sense. And I never knew the counts. Nope, never knew the counts. Elizabeth Martin, she wouldn't count. She would give sounds, which she, in a good way, shouted them out all the time, at the right time, every time, at the same time, every time, which then, that's how I knew when to hit. I knew what one was when I heard bat in my head, whether if she was in the room, out of the room, or if I was at competition, that's how I knew where one was, or that's how I knew where one was, and that's how I counted. I created sounds, which went with the movement, which went with the music, and it all sat and rode together. So that's why I can't count. And I will stick to that story forever. I never know the counts. Even when you give me the count, I don't care for the count. I want to see the movement. I have to do the movement with the music a few times and watch other people who are counting do it. I see where they're sitting the movement with the music. I see where they're piecing that all together. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Every time I try counting, it turns into, and 1, 2, leg, move, arm, head, down. That is my counting. I have a dancer that's been dancing for me. She was my student, and then now she dances for me professionally, and she's my counter. There's now 2 of them. Morgan and Rachel are my counters. Honestly, if I can take them everywhere I teach with me, which that's like in the works. But anyway, if I can take them everywhere I teach with me so that they can count and I can just focus on giving the choreography, watching, cleaning, and moving, that is like my perfect thing. My sister, when she danced with me, she would count. And when I started teaching, I would dance and she would count for the kids. And I would show them the choreography and she would count it. So I've always had a counter for classes that I taught. Always had a counter. In college, I had a dance friend that would count for me, for everyone. Not for me, but they'd be my accounting voice. Came out here to Colorado, I had another counter. So I keep finding counters. These 2 will probably be my very lifelong counters. And then if Dale wants to come dance with me again, she can always be my counter. Yeah, she would counter. I, like everybody else, is hoping for the world to open, for things to go back to normal. Or, honestly, things don't have to go back to normal because really, air quote, what is normal? Things don't really have to go back to the way they used to be. I'm just really eager for things to just settle in to be what they're going to be. Whether it means that we will forever now wear masks. If bars and nightclubs are no longer a thing now that they're closing back again. If the middle seat in the airplane will always be open. Actually, you want to know something? This 6 feet social distancing, in my opinion, it's kind of like outdoor courtesy. Okay? Here's a rant. This is one of 2 things about this entire new policy that I don't understand. I mean, I understand it. I just don't understand why it wasn't happening since like the beginning of time. Let me explain. If I'm at the checkout line, waiting to get checked out, there's a few people in front of me. There's a few people behind me. If we did not come together, there is no reason for you to be literally right behind me, breathing over my shoulder. Like, hello, sir, ma'am. If you're not paying for my groceries or making my meal, why are you sitting on my shoulder? Like, think about that for a minute. How many times were you in the store and someone was way too close for comfort? Now, think about the times, how many times you were in the store and someone was way too close for comfort. And instead of requesting that they move back, you either complain to the person that actually came with you, or you just kind of huffed and puffed and sucked it up. Social distancing should have been a thing from the get. That is my personal opinion. There have been times before this, like 2019, 2018, 16, whatever. There have been times in the past where someone is way too close. Just way too close. Almost holding my hand, that I have turned around and said, can you please move back? Can you please give me some space? I said this to someone and they said, well, what about when you go to the bar and the nightclub? Well, being someone that has gone out in large groups and being someone that goes out solo, there's still my own bubble that you don't need to invade at a bar, at a nightclub. There's just space. You give other people space around you. I have been in a crowded bar and in a crowded, actually, I've been in more crowded nightclubs than I've been in bars, where I basically made out with a person's neck while I was dancing. Like I've been in those really tight, overly tight nightclubs. But even then, it might be my personal thing, but whenever it gets too tight, I always find my bubble and dance in my bubble. I don't need to be dancing in the middle of the dance floor. Like, I really don't. I usually find the nice bouncer who is typically standing by the DJ. I give a wave to the DJ like, hey, I'm going to stand right here because I know you're not going to keep going in and out. I'm going to stand and I make my hello to the bouncer. That's when I actually usually become friends with the bouncer and the DJ. And then that area right there is usually my spot. and I'll just dance and be in my zone. Or I'll just find a corner of the room that is still in very nice ear range of the speakers. Like, this is typically the thing that I do when I go out by myself, because I just want to be in a nice bumping environment, maybe a couple of drinks, and just listening to the DJ go and do his thing, and listening to the music and dance. When I'm in a group of people, you better believe I am that person making a circle, keeping that circle, and we just have our own space. You just create your own space. To me, I'm happy for the social distancing because it doesn't make me look like the rude person that's like, hey, please move back. I know I'm not the only one out there that has done that in the past at the store. I cannot be. If I am, public announcement, you should have been doing it from the get-go, like, period. You can try and argue with me on that, but you're not gonna get far. That's a belief. That's a belief I have, honestly. But I don't even know what I was talking about as I got onto that rant. But I am looking forward to when things are consistent and are the new normal. I'm slowly letting go of what was normal, air quote again, and I'm looking forward to what is going to be the new normal, air quote. And I air quote the normal because normal for me isn't normal for anyone else. Honestly, let's be real. My life is so different than somebody else's, which is so different from someone else, and you know what I mean. So I am, like, all in all, I am looking forward to that, along with Pageant Week next week. I will do another episode, maybe not right when I come back after Pageant Week, but I will be doing another episode to update the status on what happens through Pageant Week. I'm very excited. I am very excited to be in an environment with women that are positive, empowering in their own way. I love hearing about how other people empower others, hence this podcast. Regardless if you're a male or a female, I love hearing about how one individual empowered another individual, inspired another individual to move forward or stay put. You don't always have to move forward. I think the idea of I have to be going somewhere, I have to be doing something, I don't think so. It honestly depends on who you are, what your personality is, and what you want. Period. I'm a person, I want a lot of things. I want to be able to do, accomplish, and build several things, everything. Right now as I'm speaking, I'm thinking about things that I could be doing, want to be doing, will be doing. It's an ongoing thing. That's the way my brain is. That's who I am. So if you're that person where you're just like, no, I'm content right here where I'm at, I just want to be better at what I'm doing, or I'm content right here where I'm at, that is totally fine. You don't have to change yourself, your environment. You don't have to do more for someone else because of someone else. If you're content where you are, then that's peachy. If you're content and you are happy where you are and that works for you, then it works for you. Now, I will say, if you are battling an illness, yeah, it's something that you want to get better at. And when I say illness, I mean an addiction. You're harming your body, whichever have you. That's a whole different episode, but you get my drift. I will do a few more episodes of just me chatting with you guys. The rest of this season, I don't even know when the season 1 is going to end, or if it does end. I have no idea. I'm really happy I started a podcast. So I procrastinated. I purchased everything. I had everything ready to create this podcast for about a year and a half now. It just sat there. I'm kind of a perfectionist and a procrastinator. So the both of those together does not get much done.